are now live on this event with Harold. Thank you so much for being with us, Harold. It's a really pleasure to have you in this session, 20-minute session with you as an expert.
Thank you, Romain.
So the principle is known to the audience of those 20-minute session, and you're also aware of the format. It's very informal chat to try to showcase your expertise and bring some insights to our audience. But before we start, could you please, Harold, just introduce yourself? You've been highlighted as a speaker, so the audience knows more or less who you are, but it's better if it comes from you. If you could give us a short introduction, please.
Yes, I've been in the mobility and transport consultancy business for now over 20 years, especially in the planning aspect and feasibility aspect of the projects, both from an intermodal point of view, starting from a city, a region, or a country, or from a more focused point of view related to the focused project, a given project, whether a metro, BRT, or metro project. So these are the two main topics I've been working on and still working on in different projects worldwide.
Excellent. That's a lot of experience and a lot of expertise we can talk about. Maybe I'd like to start a bit the discussion because you've been involved with a lot of I5s, right? I know you work with the French Industry for Development. You also work on World Bank Finance Project and other I5s, I'm sure. But you kept your expertise at the core. You mentioned urban project, BRT, metro, etc. So you've seen probably the evolution on how those projects are designed and how they ask you as a consultant, as a consultant in various large companies where you worked in, to answer the problem. So is there a trend or something that you've seen that you could compare the way the projects were 20 years ago, 15 years ago compared to now?
For sure, trends of evolution can be highlighted. I think we were previously 10 years ago, 15 years ago, in more streamlined projects with some typical studies to be carried out, with very clear technical milestones to be addressed. And work went like that, very obviously. Now, things, of course, keep going on with key technical milestones, but more and more other issues are mixing with these technical aspects, with more interactions with the context, with more cutting-edge aspects also to be integrated regarding data, regarding social demand, regarding environmental impacts, but social impacts, but not only in their own little case, actually, own little box, but also to be integrated in a more thorough way into the overall work for the project. So I think that's one of the key evolution with a more global attitude to projects and with not so much technical focus, which of course is still baseline and very important, but the added value comes from what can be added to these technical skills and to the way projects can be managed. To integrate this context aspect, this political context, social aspect, impact context that can be related to
it. Very interesting. So those additional dimensions that now needs to be added to the foundation, as you say, of the technical project, because now you have to talk about data. There's more data to analyze and to take into account. You mentioned social impact, environmental impact, political, geopolitical, maybe sometimes, I guess, environment to take that into account. How does that affect your work in the different companies that you worked in? And you can even talk about the role in your company right now, but in general, would you say that before, if you were working with the transport department, it was only within the transport department. And now it adds some complexity that you have to work with a unit working on data, your colleagues from environment. Does it make the implementation more complicated because you have to interrelate and mix with all those different units on one project?
Yes, we definitely we cannot stick to the addition of technical skills to build up a project, and there are definitely overall management skills that need to come into line and be able to balance all the different aspects, of course, related to the different technical skills. But this is baseline in the business, but also to integrate all these other parameters regarding social, economical, political aspects to be integrated, and that are key issues for the success of the project, actually. And now more and more our IFI's clients do understand that key of the success is not only technical, it is, but not only. It's not sufficient to have a successful project and to have a project that will be accepted, that will be funded, and that will be brought forward both from their own side by their board, actually, but also from the beneficiary side and from the local point of view. So more and more, a project manager needs to be agile enough to understand first. There's a key role in understanding the right level of issues, actually, or between these varied issues, and have an ability to make the project move forward with these different dimensions. So pluridimensional way to make a project successful and to bring things forward. So that's, I think, one of the big changes that we are facing. And in addition to that, there's of course the digital and data issue, because well, that's things are not only moving on with this broader acceptance of the context, but also we need to keep cutting edge on this aspect, which is not another technical aspect to be added to a project, but clearly a cross-cutting issue to be well understood and well integrated at every phase of a project. Well, another key role for the project manager to take aboard in order to be relevant, in order to bring value and bring projects forward.
Interesting. I'm wondering how this has an impact on the skills of your team. So as a project director yourself, you manage teams, and you, as you said, you coordinate as well with various units when you manage the project. I'm wondering first if this requirement to be more agile at different level and to coordinate across all those units doesn't push the technically skilled people, in that case, for instance, engineers, to use less their technical skills and to be more of, generalist project managers. So that's my first question. And my sub question is that a problem? And my second question is, given the need for more data, and as you said, to be more cutting edge on the data, does that mean that you see in your teams, again, in the staffing, in HR in general, two tracks of expertise? One, the engineer that become more generalists and project manager, and then the data person, specialists that need to be very cutting edge in managing models, transport models, data. Is that a trend? So, or is it totally not the case? I would like your take on those two questions.
Indeed, big questions. May not have all the answers right now, but definitely there is a trend to have engineers working in these projects, these transport and mobility projects, to be generalists, to be transversal engineers, to be able first to have a broad understanding, first to ask questions before getting to answers, before getting to technical answers. So that's definitely, these are definitely skills and abilities that are, well, survival skills in these projects. Otherwise, you are most probably you'll miss the point at some point in the project, and the risk is really to waste some time and lose some resources into getting too technical, in some way that will not be fully useful to the project. So it's definitely a very important point to keep in mind all along the lifetime of the project, to have this general ability to understand, to ask questions, to raise issues, and not to rush into technical aspects, financial aspects, before being sure to have the right focus on the project. And this cannot be done alone by the project manager. Of course, he's the one in responsibility to do that. He needs to be seconded by the right engineer, actually, to care for that. So some focused technical skills will still be needed, but their weight is losing. Their weight is losing actually some of its power into the project mix, in order also to have broader-minded engineers, mixing some technical skills along with softer skills, with broader skills, to have a real valuable contribution to these projects. And it brings to the second question with the data aspects. I'm quite happy actually to work with data engineers who are not only data engineers, they're also just engineers. And it's still a big word actually, because it means to be able to understand not only how to address data and how to process them in the best manner, but also to understand why we use them, why we collect them, and then with the why, understanding how far we will collect them and how far we will process them. Because once again, this can be definitely resource consuming, time consuming, and we need to understand how far we need to go with the data we collect, according to the results, and what we intend to deliver to the IFIs and to the local stakeholders. So this sense of measure is definitely very important with data, because data gets big actually, in a very natural way. Data are expanding. So in front of expanding data, we need to keep really calm, to keep cool, and understand what are the core data that are required for our business, what are the core data required to give the right answer and the right level of answer we are required to give for a given topic. So once again, one technical skill cannot go alone at these in these consulting activities for transport, and more how to proceed data goes with the question why to process data, and we cannot actually make a full watertight distinction between the two without taking some risks of losing ourselves in the way, losing our client in the way, and not bringing an adequate answer. It can be a little bit frustrating because there's data engineers like data, like models, but it's really giving a sense of meaning, a sense of usefulness into the way we process data. It's also not only delivering, I would say, only answers, but also delivering tools. And then it becomes less frustrating because actually you are a milestone on the way, and you are also in some capacity building dimension with the client, of course, with IFIs, but also with beneficiaries and local stakeholders. You deliver products that are not necessarily fully finished, that address a topic at one given time, that give an answer, and a meaningful answer, a valuable answer at one given time. But then you also deliver the tools, understanding that, well, time will go on, and that with some slightly different answers, with some time that will have come by, they will need to use these tools. They will need to gather more data, or slightly different data, more focused data, in order to move forward. So actually, that's also the way we proceed. It's not keeping models in a black box, behind closed doors. It's true as well for all data collecting and data processing. The point is to be, well, very transparent over that. We have nothing much to hide. And the point is to be able to give it out to clients, give it out to beneficiaries and stakeholders, so that at their turn they can take the hand and be empowered to do so. So another part of satisfaction to be brought forward. Both a satisfaction for us, but also a satisfaction for our client, and something we bring forward also now into answers to bids, actually, understanding that it can be also a requirement, stated or not, implicit or explicit in the tenders, to have this capacity building going along this project delivery. So we care to do that. It needs to be done quite accurately, because this is time consuming again, and we all, as consultants, we work with limited time, we work with limited resources, but I would say the slight additional time and resources that is dedicated to that, or the slightly different allocation of time and resources that is required by such a way, is well rewarded, and it's both a satisfaction. It is a satisfaction for us. Once again, it is also a key of differentiation with other bids, and it is a way to give out the best out of an assignment that we can be required to give out. So,
very interesting. Very interesting. I mean, you covered all my follow-up question, because I was going to ask you a question about, is there a thing like too much data? And you covered that. And I especially like the way you cover the fact that it's not only data, but it's data that is embedded into a tool, because it's all about the why and the what, and what can you do with that tool. So that I found very, very interesting. And I see that. I see what you mean, that with the capacity being increased in the beneficiaries and the different emerging economies around the world, they don't only want a report full of data, but they tell you, hey, what about you give me a tool that you shape and you decide to answer my why question, and then I can use it myself and update it. So this goes back to your point to being agile and cutting edge, and I think it's very interesting. Now you won't believe me, but it's been already 19 minutes, so we have one more question. It goes very fast. When it's a good chat like this, it always goes fast. the last question, I would like to shift slightly on bids, because it's also part of your work. And you mentioned already a differentiator, which is your ability to propose a tool as an alternative, like it can be a comparative advantage in your bids. What is another trend that you've seen in the business development part of your work? Because we talked a lot today about the technical expertise, the execution, but business development is always key. There are tenders. The I5 ask you to write bids and proposals. So, this can be very time consuming as well. So can you give us just either one anecdote or one trend or one thing you see that you have to adapt in the way you do your bids to still be competitive and still be differentiating compared to other competitors?
Maybe not one.
Not one,
maybe not one tip, but a few ones that I think are really commonplace, but so not so easy to carry out actually, or to implement. First, we need to be very selective and do not hesitate not to answer. First, saying no is certainly the first skill to be highlighted when answering to a bid. So sometimes the best way to address a bid is not to answer this bid, and this must be taken for as an important step forward, because it means that the one that will have been selected, carefully selected, will be also carefully carried out. And here, quality is absolutely needed. Well, we all consultants have shelters plenty of old methodologies to be delivered. An old methodology doesn't make a new one, and usually does not make a winning bid, or very randomly and working on it couldn't be reliable to work like that. So indeed, we need to be very specific once we go for the bid. We need to identify value very quickly. Where is the value? Is it in the consortium? Is it the experts we put forward? Is it in the cost? Is it in the skills we will bring? Is it in the way we will process data, and we will deliver also some capacity building along with the traditional deliverable that will be required from this assignment. So these are really the key boxes to tick all along the short lifetime of a bid, actually, in order to be able to keep a reasonable balance of time between our key and core operational business, the projects we have, and our core business also, but with not so much time actually to dedicate to it, which is about the business we will have, and then about the bids. So we need to keep a balance, 2/3, 1/3 possibly. And for this, we need to be then very cutting, very agile into the definition of a successful bid. So this is about the way we would see bid, and how actually we implement this in our business. But it's sometimes all too easy to go to too many bids, and definitely a trend to be strongly opposed in order to be efficient and in order to bring value to our organization, to our work, and to our clients.
Fascinating. Thank you so much, Harold. I'll keep you in mind for the next podcast on bid selectivity and how we can improve efficiency, because there's another hour and a half just on that topic that you just started. But thank you so much for your answer. Thank you for your time. And again, it was a pleasure to have you on this session.
Thank you very much, Romain. Always a pleasure to discuss on these topics with you.